Hey, remember the anime Spy Classroom? The one with a class of teen delinquents dropouts to become tasked with an almost impossible goal of defeating their teacher? No, not Assassination Classroom from 2015. That was the one with the class of teen delinquents and dropouts to become tasked with Oh. I see how you could be confused. But I'm talking about Spy Classroom from 2023 that takes that plot and mixes in with some of the most popular trends in anime, such as cute girls doing not so cute things like Licorice Recoil that aired the season before, as well as a trend for spies like Spy X Family that aired the year before. At least that's what I thought this anime would basically be about until around episode 4 when I finally got to hear that banger of an opening. So add that to the playlist, but more importantly, it was the plot twists and interesting use of characters that actually got me hooked. Not to mention that what I had thought the entire anime was going to be about was wrapped up in the first 3 episodes, which felt extremely fast paced. I can understand how people who watched this after reading the light novels would feel that it was rushed. Regardless of how this anime was adapted from the light novels, as I did not read those, I could barely get a video out every month, the ability of this anime to juggle the multiple main characters in a way that has us asking if there even is a single main character is commendable to both the producers of the anime as well as the authors of the light novels. This comes down to how the anime structured its episodes, storylines, pacing, and interactions that made for a more interactive watching experience. As a viewer, I felt that I was being manipulated and tricked just as much, if not more, than some of the characters on the show. While the plot twists and reveals may have been more impactful in the light novels with an unreliable narrator, the anime did what it could to adapt the story and balance the development of a large cast while moving the plot forward. I feel that as an anime watcher, I had only good things to say as I did not have the expectations from the light novels. So I guess this may be a hot take to praise this anime, but I don't enjoy talking about anime I don't like. What do you expect, another DeadTube video? So feel free to let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Even leave a like if you can at least respect my opinion or the video on the topic. By the 3rd episode, where it seems the entire anime is about to wrap up, we are just as surprised as the enemy they tricked into the existence of an 8th member of the team. This reveal was supposedly well hinted at in the light novels, but teasing an additional character in an anime would be pretty obvious when you can count the amount of characters on screen at any given time. That being said, I enjoyed the surprise either way and thought the explanation of how and why was creative. With already 7 characters, the struggle to give each character meaningful development is hindered by sharing the spotlight, or should I say, lamplight. More often than not, this would lead to the only characters with meaningful insight are the main characters and maybe 1 or 2 other characters with an unfinished backstory. I am not saying it is not possible, just more difficult for the writers. This is where the anime takes almost a sitcom approach to the main characters, where you begin to doubt or are never even aware who the main character is, and you can provide an argument to any of them. As with the television shows Always Sunny in Philadelphia or Friends. Likewise, it could be very well argued that the main character is the setting or the plot that holds all the characters together, like Patty's Pub or Friend's apartment. The mansion the team is staying at, or the team Lamplight, is the main character holding every other character together and growing along with them. There's even an entire episode dedicated to improving the health of the mansion. The mansion gets more development than some of the characters at certain points. Oh, I know. Let's try asking Google who the main character is. Well, there you have it. Open and shut case. But I don't buy it. Not today, Google. From the start of the anime, the first character we follow is Lily. For the first 3 episodes, she is made to be the leader of the new team called Lamplight. It is no surprise that the audience is led to believe that she is and will be the main character throughout the rest of the series. Now, I would be lying if I didn't tell you I also believed this, and for far too long into the season, for it really should have been more obvious to me by the 4th episode when it was all about Erna. The title of each episode spells this out pretty clearly for us too. This leads us into how the structure of the storytelling and displaying those stories provides the necessary character focus in order to move the story forward. Moving forward, episodes 1 to 3 are plot heavy, fast paced that hooks the audience before developing the characters, as the hook is in the plot and not the characters. This may make the events that develop slightly less suspenseful without characters that we are invested in taking these risks. Where episodes 4 to 7 we go into the characters more, with episodes 5 to 7 being adapted from short stories that were released outside the volume's release order. So from these episodes we get more insight into the characters as opposed to the light novel structure, where each girl is given their own volume for development. Regardless on how you would critique this method for development first or plot first, I feel the anime choosing to balance this was phenomenal. Lastly, the anime ended off with incredible episodes 8 to 12 from volume 2 focusing on Gret. The character focus is extremely well balanced, so much so that from just 1 season of the anime we can make several good arguments of who the main character really is. Volume 2 focusing on Gret got 4 episodes as opposed to adaptation of volume 1 with Lily's 3 episodes. Before we move forward, we should determine who the true protagonist of the story is. We have already confirmed that there are 9 main characters. This isn't a Stephen King story, so although the mansion seemed like it had its own episode, I wouldn't go as far as to argue that it was a main character. Now with this many main characters, the struggle becomes how to give each one their own growth and development, or at this point even a proper introduction. Main characters are who the audience follows the plot through, who we watch get impacted by it and act on the plot, while it is the protagonist who actually drives the plot forward. Looking at each main character individually, it may be difficult to understand which one drives the plot forward, and that is because they all share a common thread holding them together. Thus, they can collectively be considered protagonists. That is, the spy team Lamplight is the protagonist that drives the plot forward, and it is the main characters within the team that are developed concurrently as the plot progresses. Though the balance of multiple main characters will not perfectly satisfy everyone, there are several rules and methods that allow for a smooth and engaging story nevertheless. Furthermore, how does Spy Classroom hold up to following these rules? And what are these rules? Characters should exist to represent theme and move plot forward, preferably both. Each of these characters have a similar background of struggling in their classes, their own special individual talents or abilities with their lives having been impacted by the ongoing war in one way or another. This gives each character some form of shared motivation that keeps them moving together as Lamplight forward with the plot. Avoid repetition by recognizing which archetype each character represents. Here there is no doubt that each character is unique and fills their own role within the team with different character archetypes of the story. While some of the characters' codenames give good insight into what these archetypes are, we'll be going down the list of the characters and see what we have. Klaus, who encompasses the archetype of mentor, Lily, who fits the archetype of caregiver, Annette, who fits the role of creator, Erna, who fits the damsel, Monica, who fits the outlaw, Sibia, who fits the jock, Gret, who fits Star-Crossed archetype with her infatuation of Klaus, Thea, who fits the seducer, and lastly Sarah, who fits the child, despite being older than Erna and Netta. While there are many different character archetypes and arguments for different archetypes can be made for any of these characters, this is just to illustrate the different roles each of these characters serve in the story. Prioritize the characters that play a role in the climax. Each new mission, goal, or event in the anime will clearly focus on different characters with a clear lead. Furthermore, they may even be split into sub-teams depending on the missions based on what is needed and how they work together. This allows more specific characters to receive the spotlight to strengthen the impact of the climax, as seen in the beginning of Season 1 with Lily, the end of Season 1 with Greta, or beginning of Season 2 with Annette. Keep a firm grasp on which character is your protagonist. A common pitfall with large casts of characters is, what they might say, losing the forest for the trees. However, the larger your cast, the more important it is to ground your story with a solid protagonist. More than that, the protagonist is the character who ultimately defines both the main conflict and the theme. This supports and is supported by our earlier discussion that the protagonist is the Spy Team Lamplight. Chart each prominent character's personal goal, personal conflict with the protagonist, and every other pertinent character. This is done in each arc, where the current prominent character's own motivations and goals are given insight and depth. With Lamplight as the protagonist, the conflict is their motivation or reasons for staying and being a part of the team. Then their interactions with each other within the team are each of the pertinent characters. Time character introductions. While the timing of character introductions may not be to many viewers' liking, it is no doubt necessary to spread it out when you have that large of a cast. Each character, while being briefly introduced, would not count as a full introduction right away, and these full introductions are done when necessary, usually at the start of their respective arc in order to move the plot forward. This is what balances that focus of the anime between the many main characters' depth and the story being told. Other anime may have many and additional main characters, but I feel that in most of them, it is a real main character and then side main characters, or equally main but not as many. In Spy Classroom, it actually feels like the multiple main characters with equally important roles and equally developed depth are plentiful and well balanced. I believe the anime is able to balance this many main characters with finesse and tells the author's story beautifully. Despite the popularity, ratings, or opinions of the anime, I hope I was able to give credit where credit is due, or at the very least, didn't confuse anyone along the way. Thanks for watching, and until next time,
See you. Bye bye.